Ladies and gentlemen, hello there, and welcome to a special edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I mean, you gotta have a special edition of anything today if you're talking about wrestling, because as they used to say in biblical times, Jesus fucking Christ!
Yeah, that's what my Bible says too, actually.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm joined by Anthony Suter from the Smark To Death podcast and Smark To Death radio, because there's too much stuff going on for just one man to handle. That's what my girlfriend says about me. But also, in regards to all of what's going on today, we're doing this special stream live right here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes to talk about the mass releases, layoffs, furloughs from WWE that they've been announcing today, and it just feels like a waterfall of shit that was just trickling.
It's like a waterfall. It's like, there's golden showers. This is like a brown shower right into your face, and also a gut punch.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I don't know what's better, a golden shower or a brown one. And we don't have to get into that either, really, because, Anthony, I love you, but there's certain things about you I don't need to know.
I mean, I could find a way to spin. So the golden shower trickles, right?
Okay. So So basically today started off very innocuously, as per usual. Just, people on Twitter shitposting, comparing AEW to WWE, all the usual stuff. And then we get news that Vince McMahon is going to, had a conference call with all of WWE's employees, saying that there are going to be some layoffs coming, and they're coming like super soon. We get a press release, an original press release, where it is announced that a few members of the WWE roster were released. Initially, it was limited to Drake Maverick, Kurt Hawkins, EC3, Lio Rush, and I'm forgetting someone. Who was the? Carl Anderson. Those were the first. Those were the first that were announced. Then, as I'm talking about it on Twitter, people go like, "Oh, there goes Doc Gallows." I'm like, "What?" And then, Eric Young's been released. EC3, and I'm like, what? And it has been just like that all day, Anthony. Just people in WWE talent that have just been released. As the more the day went on, more people were being released.
And it's so sad too, right? Like, these guys, the thing that bothers me the most, there's lots, we're going to talk about all this, right? Like, there's a lot of shit behind all this and it happening when it did. I get it to an extent, right? Like, I understand you want to make your shareholders happy. You got to cut some of these contracts. How many of these contracts are actually that big, though? That's my fucking question. How many of these contracts are big enough that you're saving that much money that makes that much of a difference? And how many of these guys have not even been on TV enough to really make a difference or make any real money whenever this all clears? Because at some point, we'll be past COVID. At some point, these wrestlers will be looking for work and hopefully find it. Mm-hmm. But they're so fucked by the WWE hoarding people. Like, we've talked about this on our podcast together as friends. They've hoarded so much. Yeah, they've hoarded all this talent. You have super talented guys like Lio Rush, like Drake Maverick, like the Club, that have never really been used all that well and have not been seen in forever. So whoever signs them, they will get the smallest possible deal they can when they find work. When most of these guys find work, I just worry some of them won't. Like your Sarah Logans, no one knows what Sarah Logan can do. No one knows.
No,
we've never really seen her.
We've never seen it at all up until this point. That I completely agree. But yeah, I mean, there's the economics thing about it, like you said, which is extremely strange. Like, what are they trying to do exactly? What's the plan? But we'll touch into all of this as we go along. And I promise, folks, we will be done by the time that that AEW and NXT begin. We just want to throw in a few thoughts. And if you want to donate a super chat, please feel free. And it's going to be just a slight curve, but I do want to thank Anakin for his extremely generous super chat. Thank you very much, Anakin. Saying congratulations to Kristen, referring to Kristen Ashley, and Warren. That's me. Are you getting married or just engaged? Glad to hear some joyful news on such a depressing day. Yeah, Kristen and I announced that it feels weird to talk about it. But Kristen and I have announced that we are engaged. Yes, to get married. We still have the whole geography thing to work out, but we are deeply, deeply committed to each other. I like her tons, and she likes me tons too back. So yes, so that is some good news. Thank you very much. But let's move on. Let's go to
Kristen's hoarding talent herself. So I hope she doesn't release you in the next few weeks, man.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be nice if she didn't release me. By the way, hello everyone who's live here in the chat. I'm just gonna take a quick minute. I want to talk about this so much. I want to say hello and to everyone who's here. Brian Payne, DGMC is here. Throwback, how you doing, pal? Tony Wiegand is here as well. Metal joins us as well. Tim Traver, good friend of the show. Good to see you. Joseph Boza is here as well. Who else have we got? Ryan Smith is here. How you doing? John Baez is here as well. Good to see you again, John. Mr. Peeps, Ryan Smith, Carlos, how you doing? And Anakin as well is here. Thank you very much once again. Enzon is here. Chris Gimberlin as well. It's all good to see you. And Chris Greenlee as well. How you doing? Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So, listen, I've got a list of people. I'm pretty sure I'm up to date on this, but we already mentioned a few, and I'm going to run a few of them down. We got Drake Maverick, Gallus and Anderson who have been released, Kurt Hawkins, Eric Young, EC3, Leo Rush, and I'm just going with talent right now. Aiden English has been released as well. Kurt Angle. Let's see who else. We have Mike Chioda who's been released. Eric Rowan, the Colognes. Mike and Maria Kanellis as well. Zack Ryder, No Way Jose. Dianna Perazzo from NXT as well. And Anthony, let's start, because I think there's a couple of wrestlers here who are meant to be spoken of. But to me, the big one, the real enchilada here, Rusev is gone from WWE.
So of the names, is he the biggest? Yes. But he's the least surprising to me. Well, not really the least surprising. Of all the bigger names that at one point were relevant to the WWE, where they like actually had title pictures, he would probably be the least surprising person to be released to me. I feel like he's wanted to be released for a long time, and guys like him, there's like on a different, less negative note, a lot of these people probably wanted to be released anyway. A lot of like that, we can probably assume that. It sucks that they're released now when they can't find work, and that's WWE being assholes. Rusev does not surprise me.
No. It's not a question of surprise either. Like, this guy is a bona fide WWE superstar.
He's a star, yeah.
This is a guy who made his career there. He's a guy that if he had been used properly, would probably have had a couple of world title reigns at this point. But
he turned that crappy angle with Lana and Bobby Lashley, and he was super over during that. He was super over with like that. It didn't matter. Yeah, he got nothing but shit salad thrown at him, and he always turned it into like, a nice like chicken Caesar.
Chicken salad into chicken Caesar?
No, shit salad.
Oh, shit salad into chicken Caesar. Christ. Okay, that's some alchemy right there.
That's right.
But obviously Rusev, look, if we're talking about hot free agency that comes out of here today, Rusev has got to be at the top of the list. There's a lot of stuff that can do. Let's be marks for a second here, Anthony. Where should Rusev go? Where would he flourish?
I mean, we both are going to agree it's New Japan, right?
Fuck yeah!
It's got to be New Japan. I saw Sean Ross Sapp earlier, like not that long ago, actually tweeted, put him in the IWGP Heavyweight Championship title picture immediately. He'd do well in Impact too. Nobody likes to say Impact because he's not going to make that much money at Impact. But like New Japan or Impact, I don't want him in AEW. I don't think he fits there.
Well, we can talk about the AEW stuff because everyone's going, no, to AEW, AEW, man. They're going to get close to they're inching ever so closer to a talent crisis if they start hoarding themselves too many people, and not in the same way that WWE did it, just grabbing onto talent, but then having only 2 hours of programming a week to try and highlight all these people. They already have trouble getting all the people that they have right now on the 2 hours.
Well, remember though that before all this shit happened, what nobody's talking about anymore is they are supposed to have another show.
They are
in the fall.
True. That's a good point. That's an excellent
point. So they are supposed to have another show. They still have too much talent already.
Sure.
For that. Like 4 hours of programming, you have plenty of talent. You don't, and plus AEW Dark, you don't really need that many more people. But Rusev New Japan, come on, man.
Look, and we're talking about the title picture. Hell, put him up with, give me a match, Rusev Tomohiro Ishii,
yes,
who will pull out the best in Rusev. This is something I can't, because you know what? I am convinced, 100% sure, that we have never seen exactly what Rusev is capable of doing. I am convinced of that. And he is such an entertaining guy. He can get himself over on a dime. I think he'd thrive in New Japan.
I think so too. I think he would be phenomenal in New Japan. I would even love seeing him work with like an Osprey, like seeing like Osprey flip into something and him just bear hug. The bear hug is stupid, but someone like Rusev doing a bear hug to like an Osprey, man, that'd be awesome. Ishii versus even Goto versus Rusev would be awesome.
Tagaki, Shingo, fuck,
Nagata.
Oh my god, I'm getting
there's like sweaty. That, like he should have always been there. Damn it.
Yes, he should have always. He should have always been there. Although he would have never rode in on a tank though if he had stayed there. Throwback leaves a super chat. Thank you very much, Throwback. OMG, he says, it's like the hot girl at high school, WWE, that everyone dreams of or wants, and once they get with / hook up with her, they are like, what was I thinking? Shake my head. This was an RKO that was out of nowhere. Two very good analogies, actually.
I mean, like this arcade. You know what the crazy thing is?
What?
He released all of these people the same week that the XFL went bankrupt and is for sale, and the day after he's put on an economic, like Vince has put on an economic recovery panel.
Yep.
Like, what the fuck is going on?
It's been like a dream. It's just been unrealistic.
Like
everything that's been happening. Anakin leaves another super chat. Thank you very much. Says Rusev is a future AEW champ in the wings. Maybe. Honestly, the most important thing is that he ends up in a place where he will feel like he's being used to the most of his talent. Anthony and I seem to agree that New Japan would probably be the best fit for him. I think we'd see things that we haven't seen from him yet. If he ends up in AEW and he becomes champion, I could see him. I can see him as a world champion anywhere.
Yep, except the WWE, because they are never going to do it.
Clearly. Another very odd release, or at least one of the ones that got me excited, is Lio Rush. Again, not necessarily a surprise, considering that Lio Rush has had a rocky history with the WWE. I don't think he felt valued there, and with reason. He is a spectacular athlete. He can do things that no one else can do. He's unreal. But still, hot free agent. What are your thoughts on Lio Rush at this point, Anthony?
I worry with Lio Rush that because of what happened backstage, allegedly, right? Like, whatever it was, whether he was really that toxic backstage deal with or not, I worry that he won't be able to find anything beyond he's an Impact guy to me. If he's either going to be working the Indies, or Impact will take a chance on him. I could see Ring of Honor too, maybe, but just with the high flyers, I could see him mix it up with the Rascals. I'd love to see him work with like Desmond Xavier in Impact. That's just me.
This is a guy that I think has a home in AEW. I really do, and we'd probably get some insanely great dream matchups there as well.
Sure. Yeah. No. I mean, he would definitely work in AEW. I just don't know. If you're AEW, right, and you're starting to get this, like, you have like a buffet line of wrestlers that you can choose from. Is Lio Rush the one you're going to take from this when you have the Revival out there? And not a guarantee that they even have the money to do it.
No,
let's not act like they don't have to pinch pennies too. I'm sure they do. But is Leo Rush? Am I going to spend my money on Leo Rush when I should be signing the Revival in the club?
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. I really think Leo Rush has the star power and the chops to mix it up with a lot of the talent there. Like low key, Nick Jackson versus Leo Rush would be outstanding. Phoenix and Leo Rush.
Oh my God.
And you see, Anakin pointed it out here. He left another super chat. Thank you again, Anakin. Jake Maverick's video broke my heart. We'll get into that. But also, why not have Leo Rush go to AAA? And then you could have your Phoenix match there as well. And you could have a couple of AEW guys there as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Triple A. Yeah, that would be awesome. I would love to see him in AAA as well. Phoenix. I didn't even think about Phoenix versus Leo Rush. My goodness.
No, that Leo Rush and Phoenix. Are you kidding me? That'd be one for the ages. I want to say hello to Get the Tables podcast, who left a super chat as well. Thank you very much with an animated bird giving us a thumbs up, Anthony. So you know what that means.
It's a cool bird.
Yeah, and it means we're doing a good job, I think. Dianna Perazzo was really two women talent were released. Sarah Logan and Dianna Perazzo. Sarah Logan, criminally underused, underappreciated. What was her indie name? Mary Dobson.
Something like Metal said it earlier. He said she was awesome on the indies. I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with her independent work.
She's fantastic. WWE didn't do her any credit. Dianna Perazzo, one of the best wrestlers out there as far as psychology, technique. She is an amazing wrestler. Tweeted out after that she had been struggling with the idea of leaving over the past few months. She's gone. Again, some thoughts on Sarah Logan and Dianna Perazzo, Anthony Suter.
Sarah Logan's a tough one, man. She's tough because I don't know with the women's wrestlers. It's so tough. I feel like not that they can't find a place, not that they don't have a place. Sarah was used so little that it's almost like you kind of expect her to end up in like a women's of honor, which I don't want to do. Nobody should suffer that. No one should suffer that fate. But AEW. Yeah, I'm like AEW needs to revamp their women's roster, right? But is Sarah Logan the name you bring in? I don't know. I don't really know enough about her. I don't know how green she is. I don't know if she's someone that you want to spend the money on.
Yeah.
Impact maybe, but Impact women's division is fine. I don't know that they need to add any other names. So
if anything, if I'm the Impact women's division, I'm picking up Dianna because Dianna can shine there because she has the charisma, she has the presence, and it would be the perfect environment for her to thrive in, and then build up maybe some more stuff and then scooch off. But I interrupted you regarding Dianna. I didn't let you speak about Dianna.
No, you're good. GGMC actually mentioned NWA for Dianna. Mr. Peep says Logan to NWA. I'd actually forget about NWA. Yeah, Sarah Logan that'd be great. She could end up going and maybe doing a tour of Stardom whenever everything seems like calms back down.
Sure.
She could maybe shimmer. I feel like Sarah Logan's going to have to work her way back through the indies before someone has a chance. Dianna, however, I think kind of the same thing, really. I mean, she didn't really get any shine in AEW or WWE. She's also pretty green. She's also pretty young. Maybe AEW would take a chance on her just because they have familiarity with her. But you talk about somebody who made one decision that changed the course of their entire career. She was in that fatal 4-way for All In. And they replaced her with Madison Rayne when she signed with WWE. And it's so
everyone
crazy.
lost. Everyone lost.
Yeah.
First of all, the fans, because we had to watch Madison Rayne wrestle.
Would you call her a sack of potatoes?
Yes. She's my 15-kilogram sack of potatoes.
She's so bad. And now, like, on the bright side for Chelsea Green, she got to make herself a star in that match and got signed. And Chelsea Green has kept her job somehow. I'm surprised that she's not one. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's another round of releases coming. I'm sure there are. But Dianna, I just don't know. Like, I feel like they have familiarity with her in AEW. Maybe they take a chance on her because they know her. But it seems like those two girls, unfortunately, are just going to have to work their way back through the indies when they're able to.
Well,
and
here's the thing: I don't think it's a bad thing when you think about it, because
I'm talking from a pay standpoint, though.
oh, sure, sure,
Like
yeah.
they're making, like, you just lost your job, you're getting paid 30 days of pay, or Dianna is. We don't know about Sarah, so they're getting 30 days of pay, and then they can work where they want. And in 30 days from now, wrestling companies aren't going to be paying wrestlers, right?
No.
Like AEW and WWE are, but independent wrestling, independent wrestling is not happening when there's no crowds. There's no way. So
that I agree with. But okay,
what do you do?
If we talk about it in a situation where things get back to normal and we can go back to watching live shows and so on and so forth, the independent with WWE gobbling up all of the independent talent, right? There's to me, I feel that there is a gaping hole as far as top tier indie star female talent.
Yes,
because you have Kylie Ray, you have Session Moth Martina, who's now based in North America, who can work some indie dates alongside Ring of Honor in her contract. But there's room for AAA women talent right now. So of course, right now, when I say right now, I mean in an ideal situation. Right now, there's no room for anyone because there ain't no shows, and that's a shame.
Sure.
But once things get back to normal, I feel like they could carve themselves a pretty fun niche in there as well.
Yeah. I think that's fine. If we're talking in a perfect world where they actually go back and work, then yes, like the independent wrestling is going to be probably really hot whenever crowds are allowed again.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like when there's a limit on mass gatherings, they'll probably be a little easier to get independent wrestling shows going because there's not that many people at those shows typically anyway. So I feel like the independent scene is going to be super hot. And yeah, you're right. There are really no top flight independent wrestlers that don't belong to a company that can pay them all year long. Chris Statlander was like the last one.
Yeah.
She's AEW.
Yep, and there you go. Anakin leaves another super chat again. Anakin, thank you very much. Of all the people released today, any you think will be quickly rehired when the pandemic is over? My question is, why would they go back?
Kurt Angle. I could see Kurt Angle, Fit Finlay. All the producers are the producers are furloughed though, so they.
Well, there's some unclarity as far as some producers, because Fit Finlay, if you read his Twitter message, it felt like, thank you everyone, I had a good run kind of thing. It felt like it had closure. Shane Helms felt a little more, hey, they know where to find me kind of thing, Well,
that's Shane Helms, period.
Mm-hmm.
That's his whole
his whole
gimmick. His real life gimmick is being kind of lackadaisical. He'll find, but Shane Helms isn't worried about finding work.
Oh no, hell no.
No, I mean, whatever.
Absolutely
Whenever ROH or AEW or whoever opens up the floodgates and wants to start hiring producers, someone will hire him. Like,
yeah,
day
exactly.
one.
But honestly, I'm just looking at the list. I don't see who they'd instantly call back when things get there's the potential. This is WWE, right?
Right.
This is the company. This is Bret Hart vowed on his eternal soul that he would never go back, right?
Right.
And he patched things up with Shawn, with Vince, and he was back there, and he's a Hall of Famer and so on and so forth. You can never say never in WWE. So
right.
Anyone can potentially go back. And this is an attitude that Vince has always had. I'll always remember the story, a story that Jim Cornette said recounted at some point when he went to induct the Rock and Roll Express into the Hall of Fame. He runs into Vince. Vince gives him a big hug and he says, "Welcome home, Jim." That's an attitude that Vince has. If you end on good terms, you'll always have a home here, kind of thing. Vince is like that. I can't see who they'd pick out, who they'd just be like, hey, why don't you come back, kind of thing.
Kurt Angle.
Unless it's Kurt Angle, sure.
Yeah, Kurt Angle is the only one I can see. They'd bring him back for a TV role. Kurt Angle. How much longer did he really have on this deal anyway? Let's be real here.
For sure. Honestly.
Chioda, maybe they'd bring back.
Maybe. But Kurt Angle, you don't want him wrestling again. Like we against
No.
the last match he had with Baron Corbin at WrestleMania last year was dreadful. But he's just
done.
He's done.
He's a turtle now.
Yeah, exactly. Surprises. Is there anyone on this list that really like surprised you, where you're like, oh, wow, really? Because
the club,
right?
They just re-signed deals, didn't they?
Last year, $700,000 each is what the amount was reported.
Like, they just re-signed them. They were just a part of, like, AJ Styles is a major player for the WWE, has been since the day he walked through that and debuted at the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And when his best runs have been when the club have been with him. Other than that great run he had with Dean and fuckface James Ellsworth and all that stuff that was going on, which was great. But his best runs have been with the club. I'm happy for the club because they got almost a year of that $700,000 a year deal. So they're probably sitting pretty.
Yeah.
And they will find work. Like, there's no reason to worry about Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Like, they'll figure out. They'll be wrestling whenever you can wrestle again. They'll be wrestling shortly after. But it shocks me that WWE let go of them because they are so important to one of their major players. It's almost like it's worth the money to me. But unless they've been trying to get out.
Oh, well, I'd be surprised. I mean, do you re-sign and then 1 year later you're like, no, take me out? Like, they've been involved. Man, dude, they were in the Boneyard match. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. They worked with Taker.
Why would they want out? Like, that's a nice spot to be in. There's a lot of people who would have liked to have been in that spot on the Boneyard match, which was a success, which was fun to watch. The locker room speaks volumes, speaks very loudly when it comes to AJ Styles. Vince McMahon adores the guy, wishes he had picked him up 10 years earlier than he did. I don't think he sees AJ being successful. I think he sees AJ being successful regardless. I don't think he feels like he needs the club. It's just shocking that they just re-signed them for these massive deals. And then the next year it's like, all right, we're good.
Michael Himmelhaver has a good point. He says that they were just props, which, I mean, like,
to an extent, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, that's what they were. Mag says that. What's up, Mag? Says the locker room loves Gallows as well. It's surprising because these guys have been around for a long time. They've worked for a long time. And I feel like you want them around to, like, those are the kind of guys you want to be around for your tag teams. But as we all know, Vince notoriously doesn't give a fuck about tag team wrestling. So why? Who cares? The least surprising name for me, Warren.
Go ahead.
Epico, Primo and Epico.
Oh my God. Yeah, but okay. Sure.
I forgot they were there.
Anyway. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. As far as staff goes, Throwback leaves another very generous super chat. Thank you, Throwback. The one person that was Fit Finley. I think that's the one that surprised him most.
Yeah.
This whole women's movement when it comes to wrestling now is from him. Now he is out there, and it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up and if he can do what he did for WWE somewhere else. He was a big part in training the women, producing the matches. He produced the first Women's Royal Rumble. There's a reason why he made room for Becky Lynch, that famously after she lost her match against Asuka, then entered the Royal Rumble because Lana was injured, and he was the guy who okayed it. He was very much a cornerstone of that division, much more than Stephanie McMahon. And like I said, his tweet felt like it was a career wrapping up. Like you felt he was done. What do you see about Fit moving forward?
His is probably going to be the one that we feel the most, right? If he really had all this to do, if he was booking the women's matches and he had a lot to do with these stories, at one point the women's division in WWE was the only reason to watch WWE.
Sure.
Probably, I mean, honestly, like, it's not really that bad now. it's hard to watch. For me, it's hard to watch the WWE right now, just because there's no crowd and it's weird. But it is what it is. These are the times we live in.
Sure.
But at one point, the women's division was the only reason you should be tuned in, right? Like, we were so excited about the women main eventing Mania last year, and so his is going to be the impact that we feel the most. And I hope that AEW needs to pick him up. Period. Kenny and Brandy do not need to be producing that division. It's time for them to get out of there. Do not fuck with it, because they don't know what they're doing, and bring somebody in there that has already proven to be successful and made multiple megastars. Helped make multiple megastars by helping with the women's division.
I agree. It's not even a question, because AEW, it's never been a question that they don't have the talent. I think they have an uneven balance of very talented women and women who need more time to understand how to work a television crowd.
Right.
You know?
Like a Britt Baker could benefit from having him around.
Oh my goodness.
Like Britt, and not everybody loves that character Britt's playing, but Britt's character is so good right now. Give her somebody in the back that really knows how to steer a direction, like they did with like a Becky Lynch type character.
Sure.
I mean, like you could honestly maybe see the same thing. Becky can't really work. She's not a great wrestler. Britt's not a great wrestler, but her character works pretty damn good, and that's what got Becky over.
It's impeccable.
You get someone that knows how to book them right.
Yeah.
I mean, someone that knows how to produce matches that make her look like a star, instead of them accidentally putting these wrestlers with Sheeta and them looking like stars because Sheeta's that goddamn good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Finley has that's it. And there's no other place that he needs to be. They need to open up the purse strings and make that. If they're only going to make one hire during the pandemic, it's that hire.
Right, and this is something I think we do, since you mentioned it, we do have to talk about. Like, there's not going to be any instant hires now. Like, I not right. For a while. I don't think not until the ball really starts rolling again. We're going to have a bunch of people who are going to be without work for a while, I think, because no one is going to start. First of all, I don't think AEW is going to be picking up half as many people as people think they might be picking up, because
they're not going to pick up anybody. They're not going to touch anyone right now. Why would they?
You do not want to become the place where WWE cast-offs go to die. Just like WWE has become the place where UFC cast-offs go to die. You don't want that. It's an image you don't want.
Yeah. And you don't want, and the other thing is too, just not only just that stigma, you also don't want to be hiring people when you've already had to cancel your pay-per-view. And I don't know how much money these companies really make off live events. It's hard for me to think that the profit margin's that high on live events for wrestling.
Well, I mean, we've seen, if we just look at WWE's live event revenue, it's an insignificant portion of its overall revenue. It's not that big. But then again, AEW doesn't have the same operating costs as WWE does.
You still, I mean, right now you still don't right now we assume that Florida is going to continue to be, Florida, and let wrestling be essential business. And we assume as of April the 15th that Double or Nothing is going to happen and be taped live. We can't guarantee that. Mm-hmm. I mean, certainly things aren't going to be worse then, right? Like, I mean, in what's that, almost 7 weeks from now? 7 weeks from now, 5, 6, whatever it is, an eternity, right? Like in these times we're living now, that's like 25 fucking years.
Sure.
So you would assume that they probably will be able to tape and it won't be that big of a deal. Just no audience. But still, like, you just don't want to be spending money scooping these people up left and right until you know for sure that you're going to be able to continue taping and you're not just going to be shoving pre-recorded stuff to TNT. Mm-hmm. Who knows if TNT has a penalty in their contract for AEW if they're not live? We don't know. I mean, we probably never will. AEW isn't a publicly traded company, so they don't have to release that information. But I just don't. I won't. I'm a supermark for All Elite Wrestling, and I'm not going to say sign this person, sign this person. You sign Finley. I don't know if you sign wrestlers right now.
But Finley as a backstage guy would be phenomenal.
If you're making one hire, you see what you can pay him realistically, and maybe you try to make a contract where he makes more whenever the revenue's back.
Anakin leaves a couple of super chats, says at least the club had a great send off from Taker. Yeah, he killed them.
Yes, he killed them.
He murdered them. He also says, need to argue against Becky not being a good wrestler. She's had awesome matches with multiple people. Why are you laughing? She's not Brett or HBK, but she is very competent. I'm letting you field this one, yes.
I mean, I just don't agree. You're welcome to your opinion, and I'm not going to tell you you're wrong.
This guy gave me money.
And, you know, that I don't see the money, so I don't agree. I just don't. I didn't say she was bad in the ring. I just don't think she's not Charlotte. She's not Sasha. I don't even really like Sasha. Like, I mean, she's the weakest of the horsewomen wrestling.
Jesus Christ, the controversies never stop on the Mr. WarrenHayes show.
I mean, is that controversy? Like, is she a better wrestler than Bayley?
Look,
that would be the
here's
closest.
The thing. Maybe because I've watched wrestling for so long, and it's very hard for me in this day and age to say this wrestler is not good because I have watched.
I did not say she wasn't good.
Just saying. I have seen so many legitimately bad wrestlers. Like I joke a lot about Yoshihashi, right? I do. I like to poke a lot of fun at Yoshihashi, but in reality, he's a perfectly fine worker. There's nothing wrong with his work. It's just the package that's insane. You know, Mongo McMichael was not a good worker, but he had so much charm and panache to what he was doing. He wasn't terrible. So, but I mean, let's watch some Bastion Booger matches together, Anthony, and then let's watch Fabulous Moolah versus Wendy Richter in the 80s. Then we'll figure out just where Becky Lynch ends up on the scale. Just quickly, a couple of more staff releases. Again, we're not sure if these are releases or furloughs. Sarah Stock is a big loss for the PC. She's been a trainer there for a long time, trains both the men and the women, but with a particular focus on the women. She's been credited with helping the Evolution pay-per-view happen as well. She's a big loss if they don't bring her back. And I got to tell you, the one that stinks the most to me, Lance Storm. Lance Storm gets hired as a producer, shuts down his school. He moves from Calgary. He puts all his eggs into this. And not even a year fucking later, Anthony, this is bullshit if Lance Storm is cut from the company.
Lance Storm, when did he... Okay, so I feel like that happened like in the last couple months.
Closing down his school?
Yeah, it's 4 months. I'm looking at his Twitter.
Something like that.
Yeah, he's tweeted out whenever they released him, my best to all who, like me, lost their jobs today. To those still on the job, hold down the fort for us. It was a pleasure to work with you all these past 4 months. I hope we all get a chance to work together again. Stay strong. 4 months.
Boggles my mind. It boggles my mind.
He's gonna be another one that's probably gonna hurt pretty bad because Lance Storm's a great wrestler and he's a great teacher. And some of these young guys they have coming through NXT are like they need that too. Do you think? Let's just do crazy conspiracy theory here.
Okay.
So we can assume
sure
that these cuts were made because Q1 reports are out next week and they want to make.
Let's go right into it. Sure. I think it is.
So how many of the, like, if these people are furloughed for 30 days, right, or whatever, they're furloughed for now, would Vince be a slimy enough bastard to just hire these people back during Q2?
Oh, of course.
Like,
let's just set the stage real quickly, just in case you guys don't know exactly what we're talking about. WWE has a quarterly report due next Thursday, not a week from today. We are Thursday today. No, tomorrow. A week from tomorrow.
We're Wednesday. It's okay. There is no time in pandemic.
No, exactly. A week from tomorrow, they're doing their Q1 results, which are not going to meet projections because there hasn't been a live gate for most of the shows in March, none in April. WrestleMania falls into Q1. Or does it? No, I think it falls into Q2 probably. No, it'll fall into Q2.
No,
so WrestleMania is not a concern. they don't have but it is going to be like estimations are like 20 million less than what was projected WrestleMania should generate as far as revenue goes that weekend. There's no Saudi show in sight. Right. So usually when they do the reports, they can say, well, coming up in April or May, we have the Saudi. There's nothing on the horizon. So the theory, which is a really good theory, which is put forward, especially by Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics. And if Brandon says it, if you don't follow him on Twitter, you should, because Brandon has a brilliant mind. He's been following the economics of wrestling and especially WWE for years, and he is brilliant at what he does. If Brandon says, he put it out there, he said they're probably doing all sorts of cost cutting to hit projections, because what they want to do is they want to make their stakeholders happy. They want to make the shareholders happy, because right now the shareholders are pissed. They're not happy. So all these releases that are happening today, sure, they're to reduce costs. They're to show that they are doing what needs to be done. From my understanding, the salaries are not even close to being the biggest expense that WWE has, but it will help.
8%. They say it. I saw somewhere someone said 8% that's what their expenditure is on salary. That's it.
That's it.
You're firing people for fucking 8%. Like, you're letting these wrestlers go for 8%. Like, what did you get back? Like 0.5% of that revenue?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what this opens up, but I guess maybe it's a gesture. It's to show that they're doing things.
100%. It's hey, we're bloated. Let's cut some. Like, look, we're trying to be lean during these difficult times, but really they'll just be bloated again. Yeah, whenever they're back to operating normal, they'll just bloat themselves again.
So that's it. They probably want to meet projections. There's a lot of talk, people saying, well, it's probably Fox. It's probably USA Network that told them, you guys have to produce live content for us, and you absolutely have to do it. In relation to the decision that Vince McMahon made just a couple of days ago, it's like, no, pal, we're going live again, which is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And people have been calling me a WWE hater online for talking about this, but I want to make this crystal clear. I don't give it, because they're like, well, you're going to watch it anyway. Yes, I'm going to watch it anyway, but that's not the point. The point is that WWE, instead of doing the smart thing and bringing everyone together and taping a month of shows, has decided to fly people in and out 3 times a week to tape live programming. That's putting all of your staff at risk. That is stupid, and it is completely hypocritical when you consider that they're doing an ad campaign with the ad council right now, the American Ad Council, with WWE superstars telling people, hey, you should stay at home. It's fucking moronic, and it has nothing to do with me hating WWE or not. It's stupid. It is a stupid human decision to make. AEW put a month's of content in the can, a whole month. They're going to be taping. They're going to be doing a Double or Nothing live in May. Maybe things will be better in May. We don't know. But let's say they're not. They tape they do the live show, and they have already everyone there, so they can can a whole other month of programming.
Yep. And that's like, yeah, I actually just pulled up an article here from Bloomberg about the furloughs from WWE.
Okay.
The measures are projected to save them $4 million a month. That's it. And then cash flow improvement of $140 million. Now, the cash flow improvement's pretty fucking massive when they only had $500 million on hand, is what they said, which is still only $500 million is a stupid sentence that I just said, but it is what it is. So they cut all these people just to save themselves $4 million a month, or $48 million over a year. And they said in their statement, the decision to furlough versus permanently reducing headcount reflects the fact that the company currently believes the furlough will be temporary in nature. And they had a 2.1% increase on their shares, so they got what they wanted.
Yeah.
It's just now, mind you, WWE was already heading to these kind of measures anyway, with or without COVID-19. The stock, like they've been bleeding stock like money like crazy. As far as their shares have just been dropping. There's like 40% decrease since the January is what that article says. So they've been like, I mean, they've been hemorrhaging some live event money anyway. I feel like they were going to reduce some costs.
Oh, okay,
but
I mean, we know Vince
not
McMahon,
like
right?
not at this extent. Like this is a lot of releases. They'd never release like this.
No, they never have. And especially, look, they've been in a talent war since what, 2018? Like, I would argue that they started getting into a talent war when they realized that New Japan and Ring of Honor were running Madison Square Garden. I think from that point on, they were like, hey, you know what? We need to be careful about who's out there. I honestly do. But we also know Vince McMahon flips on a dime. He's impulsive. He does, a little bit whatever he wants to do. The XFL shut down, or people say it went bankrupt, but in reality, it's for sale, right? And Vince, listen, Vince sold 3.5 million shares in WWE in March, at the end of March, just before all of this shit handled. They gave him $85 million in cash. And this is Vince McMahon. I'm not talking about WWE. This isn't money that ended up in WWE. This is that's cash for him. That's Vince McMahon's money.
Right.
There's something not right about how all of this is being managed. And I tweeted this out, Anthony, yesterday. Jesus Christ, it's really, really hard to not feel cynical about WWE sometimes. It really fucking is hard. When the whole thing with the Florida governor, the governor of Florida saying, yeah, they're an essential business, right after Linda McMahon promises what, $20 million to
like 17 million or whatever.
Jesus,
yeah.
I mean, how can you not be cynical about all of this?
Or if you want to put that money into relevant comparisons here, that's 4 months worth of paying the people you released today.
That's bananas.
It's fucking bananas. And again, to an extent, I get the releases to an extent. I really do. Like you have to look at that side too. They were going to release people. Because of what, like them not making the live events. But this is just crazy that it's that many people in the name, and the producers is the crazy thing.
Yeah.
Like if we were not in time of COVID-19, would it be shocking that we read, okay, well, they let go of Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder and Eric Young, Heath Slater, Aiden English.
There is a bunch of people on this list that I am happy that they're gone. EC3, I am happy for them that they're gone, because they'll find an oasis somewhere else. I'm not even worried.
Right, whether it's wrestling or not, they'll find something, right?
Exactly.
It's just crazy.
They were being paid to stay at home. And let's get into it. Let's talk about it. We touched about it in a little bit, but this is it, Anthony. This is the result of talent hoarding. We're living it right here today. This bubble was bound to burst regardless. It's just popping today in the worst possible time in the past 150 years.
Yeah. This is pretty intense. Like, they haven't released talent since AEW was a thought, right? Because they usually do their spring cleaning. I've seen spring cleaning in the chat a lot. They usually would let go of people like right around Mania, right? Like you'd have your Mania season, people get their big Mania paycheck, they'd have their new debuts come in.
It's been a couple of years since we've had a spring cleaning.
And it's usually like 4 or 5 wrestlers. Mm-hmm. It used to be like 4 or 5 wrestlers. That's funny. Benoit Parisi said Jay White tagged Fit Finley and told him to join the Bullet Club. That's awesome. But yeah, it's the bubble burst. I like that Joseph Boza said. The bubble burst. They've been hoarding all this talent, and sooner or later it was going to happen. It just, like, how can you live with yourself as the paying off the government to be able to show your TV show live, only to fire all of the people that would help you produce live content? Like that sucks. Like that super sucks. And like, you did that. That's something that the McMahons did. That's why fuck Vince McMahon. Oh,
look, you can continue to live in a bubble if you like and say to yourself, no, WWE didn't hoard talent. They did, and we have the proof here. And people are like, well, they aren't releasing anyone from NXT. NXT has a goddamn live show tonight. And they are not going to start a show with in the afternoon, a couple of hours before that, saying, hey, a lot of your buddies are gone. There are going to be releases that are going to be announced either after the show or tomorrow in regards to NXT. I'm convinced they're waiting for the live show to be done. I'm sure.
Metal 2006 dropped that in earlier and said that he thinks that, he said that he read somewhere that there were going to be releases maybe as soon as right after NXT tonight.
I'm convinced. So it was to hold on to talent. It was to make sure that they didn't end up anywhere else for any amount of reason. We knew they were doing this. It was inevitably going to happen at some point where it's just going to not be sustainable. Look at what happens. This is the thing. They pile on people, just have them sit at home, pay them literally to sit at home.
Yeah. And
at some point, there was going to be an economic event. Something was going to happen. And they were going to, well, we can't hang on to these people anymore. And what's extremely sucky in this situation, and if you didn't see this coming, well, good for you for your naivete, or it sucks that you have such blinders on, because that is exactly what WWE was doing. And it just sucks that it happens now in the midst of a pandemic where a lot of these people, and you mentioned a couple of them, Eric Young, Drake Maverick, Kurt Hawkins, guys and gals, in the case of Sarah Logan as well, if there were indie shows running, if everyone else were running shows, they could go out and book. They could get a couple of bookings, continue to pay rent, buy some new gear, shit like that. But now they can't. So they're doing it at an extremely crappy, shitty moment. And I understand that their back is against the wall too, but this has nothing to do. You can't cape in all good faith for WWE in this situation here. Their whole handling of the coronavirus situation has been shitty. The fact that they're bribing to a certain extent public officials to continue doing live shows for some reason, to continue putting their talent at risk, sucks. And then they decide to fire talent that is compliant. Did you know that Jeff Hardy was flown out to SmackDown last Friday and wasn't used?
No. What the fuck? Why? Like, oh my goodness, great. That's why you should fucking pre-tape your shit. Just take the hit from USA and Fox. And like, my question is like, are USA and Fox really pushing that? Are they really, when they don't have any fucking content?
Do you they're shutting down? Maybe. Okay. Like, I'm not going to pretend that like I know the ins and outs of their contracts. I don't.
Sure. Yeah.
But they're shutting down all production of all their other shows, right? Fox.
Yeah. Nothing can be done for it. You assume nothing is going to be live. There will be no live content really until you assume.
And I'm not just live. Like
just even anything. Yeah. There's no content.
Sitcoms, dramas. There's nothing. Why would Fox put itself in a position of liability where where WWE could go, hey man, Fox forced us to, let's imagine a worst case scenario where you have 14, it's not even the worst case, all of the talent in WWE contracts COVID-19. Let's just say, and the worst case situation, Vince McMahon goes, oh, well, Fox forced us to do it, and Fox has to foot the bill for this? That's a liability. I don't see why Fox would do that.
I mean, and maybe, right? Like, I mean, never doubt the evil intent of super rich people, that because, you just can't.
That's true.
I mean, you can't, right? Like, you don't get rich.
Dana White wanted to buy an island. He wanted to put on Mortal Kombat in real life.
Man, let me tell you that was the most conflicting thing I've ever read, was the Mortal Kombat island. Because like the side of me that could separate for 2 seconds how dangerous that was to fly out people during a pandemic to go to a fight island was like, man, that sounds like a dope movie. Oh, this is real.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I can't believe he flew out, Jeff. It doesn't make sense to me to, like, because you're not just putting your wrestlers at like risk now, right? you're putting their families at risk too. Like
Sure.
Daniel Bryan, who is married to a pregnant lady. Is she pregnant? Yeah, her and Nikki are both pregnant.
She's expecting twins too.
And they have a kid, and
no,
and we don't know enough. We don't know enough about this virus to know if it's like, we just don't know enough about it to know how truly dangerous it is. Sure, we're learning more about it every day, and sure, there's we can see some light starting to peek at the end of the tunnel. Like, oh, okay, we're like, these wrestlers will be able to, and these camera crews and whatever, like, there will be content filmed at some point, you assume, it seems like it, right? It seems like we're moving to that way. But I just don't understand why WWE didn't tape. So they put the wrestlers at risk, and then they release all these people. Now they're at risk of not being able to provide for their families eventually, especially the NXT people, because God knows Dianna Purrazzo probably wasn't making that much. It's just crazy. Forbes wrote an article 6 hours ago, and I think it perfectly puts this whole situation with the COVID handling that you were just ranting about.
Please do.
Ranting about. WWE announces cutbacks as it plays Russian roulette with the health of staff during COVID-19.
I love the title.
That's
exactly it. That's exactly it. Anakin left us another super chat. Anthony says, "It's okay, Anthony. We're all entitled to questionable opinions." Like Warren and the Cameron Grimes hat, I do hope the hat gets released. No, the hat has to go to the biggest stage of them all. It is a WrestleMania level hat. Until that happens, it has to stay in WWE. We're gonna wrap this one up, though. This was a fun talk, and I think there was a lot. It was very cathartic for both of us.
It was, and I'm gonna take the blame for all of this.
How so?
Last week on Smark To Death, I said, man, I just have not had enough to talk about to record, recording these episodes.
That's true. Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, so there'll be more. There'll be more tomorrow. There'll be more tomorrow.
That's it. We won't. We're only scratching the surface here. Anthony, let the people know where they can find all of your good stuff.
So you can follow me on Twitter at Smark To Death. And of course, we have Smark To Death Radio now. MrWarrenHayes is a part of it. We have the Queen's Court. We have No Particular Angle, 5 Rounds Pod, and MMA Pod. We also have Why We Watch, and we have the Badlands podcast as well. So check out Smark To Death Radio. Make sure you give us a 5-star Frog Splash rating and review so we can be number 1 in your ears, number 1 in your heart, and number 1 on the charts. Resurging into podcasting at the worst possible time until today, where I don't know how quickly I can end this episode. It's going to be a long episode tonight, I feel like.
Yeah,
but
we're all going to be putting in some extra hours.
Yeah, I think so. But hopefully, and more importantly, I hope all you guys, it's awesome to see how many people, you had 75 people in here coming to hang out and supporting Mr. Warren Hayes. I think that is awesome, that people are listening to Warren. He's fantastic at what he does. That makes me really happy. And all the super chats you are getting, really, it's nice to see your hard work that you've been putting in for 2 years really start to pay off for you. That excites me so much.
Thank you, man. But it was mostly a place where we could all get together and talk about this crazy day, right? Just something completely insane. And I think we all kind of needed it because, quite frankly, it's depressing. It's a depressing moment that we're going through today because of the very human aspects. And we have to remember, regardless of what happens, all of these people that we see on TV, these folks doing flips and all sorts of crazy feats of strength, they're all human. They all have lives. They all have stuff that they all have their own dreams and aspirations. And it sucks that it's being taken away from them in such crummy circumstances.
It does. Yeah, this is a tough time. And unfortunately, for those of us that are wrestling fans, we've had that as an escape, even if it didn't feel quite good. To be an escape, with them risking their lives and recording live content, and then to see this real harsh reality come in, that's sad.
Sad is the word. Anyway, what wasn't sad was this episode because of Anthony Suter. Thank you so much, Anthony. Thank you for being here. Kind of last minute was like, hey, do you want to come on? I say, yeah, sure. Yeah, well, that'll be fun.
It's crazy, but these days I'm just at home, so
Aren't we all, though?
Yeah, I think so. 90% of the world, at least.
Well, thank you very much, Anthony, for coming. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live here today. We're all going to be in time for AEW and NXT. Maybe it'll get our minds off of this for a little bit, right up until the shows are done, and then we start talking about it on Twitter again. But hey, in the meantime, there we go. I was looking for my outro. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.